Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Show. Please leave your bias at the door and join me for Championship Review Round 16. I must apologise. This show was supposed to go live at 10 a.m. this morning. I woke up at 7 a.m. I worked on it for 1 hour and had to just go back to bed with a migraine. So it's sink or swim for me now. I'm either going to get through this and have a good day, or I'll be back in bed in an hour's time. Anyway, apologies if you were waiting at 10 a.m. I just wanted to crack on and get it done. Now I'm up. I've had an extra sleep. I've taken some drugs and I feel a little bit better now. So apologies if I'm not my normal enthusiastic self. I will try my best. I'm still a bit out of it on some pretty hefty painkillers, I have to say. So there we go. You get me a little bit high today, but we are going to go through, as ever, on the end of a game week. We're going to go through all 12 Championship games. Remember, we're in the midst of the mad run. Therefore, no Sunday games, which means everything squished into Friday night, Saturday midday, lunchtime kickoff, and then the 3 p.m.s on Saturday. Day off now, and then we'll be back into it on Tuesday with round 17 as we make the mad run up until Christmas with just 2 games every week for every team for 5 weeks straight. Brutal schedule for a lot of these teams. Right, before we get into the action, do let me know if you're in the comments. Let me know you can see me and hear me loudly and clearly, and get your thoughts in on each and every game as we go. As ever, try and make your comments on the game that we're talking about at the time so we can keep everything together. Don't be offended if you're commenting on the game we've already spoken about and we're doing another game. I'll just move on to the next one. Really quickly, we need to give our normal thank you to Russ, who sponsors the review show each and every week. Fan and now friend, despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Thank you very, very much to Russ. You too can support via Super Chat, Patreon, or Teesprings, and I am beautifully, if looking a bit haggard after my migraine this morning, modelling one of the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel T-shirts that you can buy over on Teesprings. But for absolutely no money whatsoever, just a click of a button. If you're watching the stream now, please hit subscribe, like, and get your comments in. This channel is only as good as the information you give me. I'm across 30 clubs, but I can't do it on my own. Right. Let's have a little look in the chat here. Nat's here. Russ is here. Annie's here. 09 Anderson. Eli. Right. Let's crack on. Give me your thoughts as we go. We will kick off as ever with all the scores, and then we'll go from the top of the table downwards. Barnsley 0, Bournemouth 4. We did that on the watch along on Friday. Bournemouth temporarily going to the top. Reading 2, Forest 0. Reading temporarily going to the top. Everyone's swapping places over the round. Brentford 2, Blackburn 2, Bristol City 0, Birmingham 1, Coventry 3, Rotherham 1, Huddersfield 2, QPR 0, Millwall 0, Derby 1, Norwich 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Preston 2, Wycombe 2, Stoke 1, Borough 0, Swansea 2, Luton 0, Watford 0, Cardiff 1. So, the top of the table is still occupied by Norwich. So we will start with them. And they beat Tony Pulis's Sheffield Wednesday side 2-1. Definite sense that, injury crisis, schmisis there. Look at that Norwich team. Really, really decent. McGovern's still in for Krull. Aaron's, Hanley, Gibson. Sorensen's played for weeks now. Vrancic is a decent reserve player to come in, isn't he? 2 assists for him in this one. It looks like he's going to go off injured himself, is he? Or does he? What happens there then? Sorry, let me just scroll down. Oh, so he gets replaced, does he, by... right at the end of the game. Oh, keep an eye on that one there. Maybe the injury crisis isn't over. Placheta, Stiepermann, Buendia is the first 11, essentially, since Dow, Hernandez and Cantwell haven't been there anyway, with Pookie on top. So Norwich, the strength of the squad now starting to show. They've got some brilliant players in that squad. Yes, they have had a lot of injuries, but really, if you look at it, just that Luton game where they had Buendia out and... no, Buendia was back, wasn't he? Was he? Yes, he was. What was the game? Oh, it was Coventry, wasn't it? Where they had no Buendia or Poogie. I think they had half a team sort of out that day. I think they've gotten over the worst of it now. And if you look at the players, God, that are gradually going to come back, you'd be scared if you were another. Essentially, if they can stay up in the top two and then bring back Krul and Quintilla and Rupp and Dowell and Hernandez and Campbell and Hugill. Do you know what I mean? As another decent championship team. And that is what it is in parachute FFP land. You can have a very nice squad if you come down from the Premier League and can keep hold of the majority of the players. Sheffield Wednesday, Wildsmith, Odebajo, Lees, Burner, Van Aken, Reach, Bannon, Iorfa, Patterson. What a mess. There's no way Did Dominic Iorfa really play in central midfield? I believe that when I see it. Harris down the right, Josh Windass up the top. Let's have a look at the goal action in this one. Lovely goal, this one. Adam Reach did this in the week, actually. A brilliant cross for Patterson in the week. And you just see him at the bottom of the picture there, Reach. Got a great left foot, hasn't he? And Pulis is getting the best out of him there. Lovely cross in between the centre halves and headed in by Josh Windass. Here comes the equaliser. That is Josh Martin going to poke that through. What you don't get to see is a lovely assist by Mario Vrancic just to set him through. So there's the equaliser. I think that was around sort of 10 minutes to go. And then they score straight away afterwards. Again, Vrancic just rolling the ball back, playing a 1-2 with Aarons, who, as you'd imagine, always very high, very narrow, and he manages to squeeze that one in. Couple of Sheffield Wednesday penalty shouts. Honestly, guys, after midweek, just give me a weekend off talking about referees. We never get a credible discussion about it. All we get is the side who the decision goes against say it should have gone for them. The side who it goes for, they say it should have gone for them. We don't really get that much of a smart conversation. So I just say it is what it is. And Wednesday didn't get the decision there. Let's have a look at the numbers and then we'll get to your comments on this one. So you'd imagine Farker against Pulis, look, 69-31 on the possession. 19 shots to 11, but Pulis won't be too disappointed with the actual shots on target count there. 5 to Wednesday and 4 to Norwich. 9 corners to 4 in Norwich's favour. The 2 big chances to 1, I bet are the 2. Yeah, look, none missed. So the 2 goals. So we get a rare occasion where all the big chances get scored in this game. Remember, that is SofaScore's definition of a big chance. You can debate that as pedantically as you want with me, but just send them a strongly worded letter if you think you can come up with a better algorithm than them for what a big chance is. We'll come to your comments. Let me just bring the table up. So Norwich are still top despite the injury crisis. So they're looking very, very nice, aren't they? The parachute cartel is broken this week. Bournemouth kept things up. Bournemouth and Norwich going blow for blow over the last 5 games. Win, draw, loss, win. No 2 points per game, but I mean, look, bigger picture. If you're following Norwich this season, they've kept Buendia, Pookie, and Aarons, which was the main objective, wasn't it? They've added well. Yeah, they've had a load of injuries, but they, frankly, look, they can cope with it. It doesn't matter. They're top of the league, for goodness sake, doesn't it? So, and with those players coming back, they just look so strong. For Wednesday, it's difficult because Pulis hasn't won a game yet, but they are competitive. I know you might have to have a bit of faith to believe what I'm saying there, but I mean, over the season, if you add the 6 points on that they've been deducted, their actual performance has them above Rotherham and in 20th place rather than 24th. That's an important distinction because that's the difference between being relegated and not being relegated. So Wednesday, I think that it's going to work in the end. I think Pulis will do it. Couple of tricky games recently against teams, particularly the last 2, Reading and Norwich, well, they're first and third, aren't they? I think he'll come good. You might just have to have a bit of patience if you're a Wednesday fan. But surely, if you were a Wednesday fan, then you've probably got plenty of patience, haven't they? Please leave your migraine at the door. Thank you, Joseph. I think it's gone. Basically, we were awful for 80 minutes and then Vrancic smashed it. Yeah, excellent player, isn't it? Afternoon all. Nat says, I thought we were unlucky. Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. Vrancic, potential cramp or hamstring issue. Interesting. Cantwell, Dowell and Hugel all restarting training. There you go. Those three are getting most championship teams, wouldn't they? Let's have a look here. We all know that championship refs are awful. That needs to be said. Yeah, pass on that one. Nat says, just nice to have 11 men. Wednesday have had a couple of red cards of late, haven't they? Mr. E says, I think Wednesday will be fine. Yeah, I agree with that. Slow and steady climb away from the bottom. The worry for Sheffield Wednesday and the teams down there is Coventry at the moment. Just putting a little gap in the way. Rotherham are trending downwards, aren't they? You got to play who you're going to finish above is the aim. You've got to finish above 3 teams, and everyone kind of expects Derby, Wednesday, and Forest to move, but that requires another 3 teams to be suckered down, doesn't it? So, yeah, that would be my view. So, Norwich, really good job, doing really great, and the injuries now are subsiding, and that really stacked squad should start, really coming together now and giving him Farker some options there. Wednesday, I think Mr. E said it well. Slow and steady climb away from the bottom. Patience may be a virtue here, but Mr. Pulis has managed many, many games, and off he'll go. You think on a reasonable point scoring run at some point, but it might take a little bit of time. Right, let's go to our next one. And we know all about this game. This is Bournemouth winning 4-0 up at Barnsley because we did it on the watch-along on Friday night. Quite the performance from Bournemouth. They nailed this one. Jason Tindall nailed it again, didn't he? And they came in 4-0 winners in the wind and the rain in Barnsley. So Bournemouth lining up there, Begovic in goal, Hembling-Cook, Kelly across the back, Smith and Rico wing backs. Billing comes in, Cook and Brooks with Solanke and Surridge up front. So he's doing a good job, Tindall, isn't he? He's rotating. There's players like Surridge gets a game, Billing gets a start as well. Stacey's not in the team at the moment, is he? And the results are coming, aren't they? Eli says, don't remind me. No, I bet. Walton in goal, standard Barnsley, back sort of 7 there. Anderson, Hellick, Solbauer, Britton and Stiles, wing backs. Kane and Moe at central with Chaplin and Bojo flanking Corley, Woodrow up the top. As I say, we did this as the watch long, but I'll just bang through these goals. Here is a transition from right to left, and you can see poor Callum Britton there. He's stuck in between. Does he close down Diego Rico, who's completely open, or does he close down Phil Billing, who has the ball? I used to play with a guy who just used to shout, go to the ball, go to the ball, go to the ball, deal with where the ball is. He doesn't close down the ball, and Billing, lovely left footer. We're going to see a similar goal by Andre Ayew later on, just slams that into the corner to Walton's left. Lovely finish. Just literally seconds before the end of minimum stoppage time in the first half. Mistake by Woodrow gives it away. Solanke powers into the box, finishes it off 2-0 then, which means Barnsley can just, Bournemouth can just sit back and pick them off. And what a goal this was, by the way. That's Diego Rico, who very cheekily, before he takes that free kick, just as he's running up, goes like that, as if to say, this is who I'm going to cross it to. And he fools everybody. He's going to curl that in on the near post. Walton not even leaving that big a gap, but it's such a good goal by Rico. Good technique there. Bit of a cringy one for Barnsley to finish with. Surridge doesn't even get played in there. I think it's an inadvertent touch off a Barnsley player. He gets in behind. Surridge does most of what he can, but he hits the shot pretty much straight out Walton. Gets two hands behind him, but it kind of squirms through and goes in for 4-0. That's not to say we shouldn't give Jason Tindall credit, because he obviously had them sitting in and waiting to go. And that's exactly your 2-0 halftime away idea, isn't it? Sit, wait. You kind of got the game won with a clean sheet. Can you get anything more? If they leave themselves open, yeah, another 2 goals. So nice work by Bournemouth in this one. The numbers tell us the story. I mean, just avert your eyes down. Big chances, 4-0. They also missed 2 big chances, including an open goal for Sam Surridge in this one. So Barnsley, we applaud them for playing open, attacking, flowing football. But on occasions, this will happen. They'll, a couple of mistakes, good opponents with good players, and you get punished. I think in the main, though, it wins you more games than 4-0 defeats, put it that way. Let's have a look at the table. So Bournemouth tucked in behind Norwich at the top there, 30 points from 16. I suppose given how tight it was at the start of this game week, and it still is, it's stretched out a little bit, as you'd imagine. It couldn't have got much tighter. And then you factor in another round of results to that. Bournemouth will be very happy about that. And both Norwich and Bournemouth will be happy that despite only being 3 points behind, Watford have just dropped a few places with that 1 point over the last 2 games. So I've certainly been saying for a while that one of those 3 can't finish in the top 2, can they? And I think if you're Norwich, Bournemouth and Watford, you're hoping that one of the 2 is going to drop away, because squad-wise, they're going to be the hardest ones to challenge. Barnsley, 3 defeats in 4. That's not good. They'd had 4 wins in 5 coming into that little bad run. So Barnsley slipping down a little bit. Still a nice 8-point cushion between them and the bottom 3. And given, given bottom 3s being what they are, after 16 games, an 8-point cushion is decent. And a lot of points to claw back if you're not a very good football team that doesn't win very often. And that's no disrespect to anybody in the bottom 3, but you do the maths. Where are the good teams and where are the bad teams in league tables? The good teams are at the top. The bad teams are at the bottom. Eli says, first half, don't think we were bad. Stayed in the game and should have got on the end of 1 or 2 crosses, but the goal before half-time killed us. Yeah, there you go. Bart says, attractive when they get it right, Barnsley. Far too open at the back, especially first half. Indeed. Just wasn't our game, but Bournemouth capitalised on every mistake they made, didn't they, James? And we also factor in when Walton came careering out and Surridge missed the open goal as well. So Russ says, certainly. Hopefully he's agreeing with somebody in the chat there. John, the Bournemouth fans know that we didn't really deserve a clean sheet, but attacking-wise broke the press so well. Chances were always going to come. And didn't they? Very impressive stuff from Jason Tindall there with his points tally so far. Right, let's go on and we'll look at Reading, who have answered a lot of people's questions over the last 4 games, hadn't they? We were totally confused by Reading. New manager comes in, 7 wins and a draw from the first 8 games, and you're like, I don't get this. Are Reading good? Are Reading incredible? Are they the best team ever? Then they lose 4 on the bounce, and we're like, right, I'm now just as confused. Are they now the worst team ever? I don't get it. But now we have enough information to say that they're a pretty good team, actually, aren't they? Another 8 points from the last 4 games. They've weathered that 4-game losing streak and put themselves back into 3rd place. A lot of people were kind of thinking, okay, down they come and into the into the middle of the table, but they're still up there. Paunovic is doing a great job. I maintain that that front 4, Maite, Elise, Ijari, and Zhao, pretty good, pretty good. Can you keep Zhao on the pitch? Can you keep him playing well, which he certainly is at the moment? So there's your Reading team. Holmes keeps the right back shirt over Estevez. Otherwise, it's all the same, isn't it? Raphael, Holmes, Morrison, Moore, Richards, Rinomota, Laurent, and that front four I mentioned, Maite, Elise, Ajaria, Zhao. Forest, well, tough old one for Chris Hughton so far, isn't it? And the hard games continue, actually. I think they've got Brentford and Norwich in the next few games as well. So it's not going to get any easier, is it? Samba, Christie, Worrell, McKenna, Ribeiro. Cafu started the last 2 games, not that one. Yates and Arter, Lolly, Taylor, Knocker. Loads of quality in there, but just the chaos at Forest and, the manager going out, the collapse at the end of last season, the normal ownership stuff, which has been written about in The Athletic this week as well. Just need to take some time to get some stability, and surely that manager with those players will eventually get them up the table. However, that might be next season rather than this. I don't see them getting relegated. Obviously, I say obviously, stranger things have happened. But again, like Sheffield Wednesday, they've brought in pragmatic managers. The fans might have to be a bit pragmatic and take their time to get out of this. Let's have a look at the clips from this one. And if there's anything that kills a game, it's a red card and a penalty sort of in the first 15 minutes. There's Ryan Yates handling the ball on the goal line, stopping that going in. So as we now know, the denying the goal scoring opportunity laws have been tweaked this season. So it's not an automatic red card if you can prove, or if the referee believes that you made a genuine attempt to play the ball in a tackle or a handball like this. Obviously, when you go down and your hand kind of scoops the ball out, it's pretty tricky to argue that, it was an accident. It was an accident, ref. So the denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, denial of a goal, essentially, by Yates, he gets the red card. And then as soon as that penalty goes in, it's a long day. Interesting one there. Look on the outside of the box. I haven't seen this before. Let me know if you've seen this. Reading put 2 players right on the edge corners of the box, completely unmarked. No Forest players went with them. And as Zhao ran up, they ran with him, presumably. He'd be offside? I suppose, yeah, you can be if you're ahead of him. When he kicks the ball, if you then go in and score, you would essentially be offside, wouldn't you? But then if the keeper touched it, would that be a new face? I don't know. I'd like to hear a professional referee talk about that one, whether you could actually stand them ahead of the penalty taker on the basis that a new phase of play would be initiated if the keeper touched the ball. Get your law books out for that one. Anyway, Zhao sticks the penalty in the goal, but I just thought it was interesting they lined up like that. Certainly I think we'll see other teams start to do that. Quite creative from Paunovic. We just wait for the moment where the ball does parry and we see what the offside calls are. Because remember as well, sorry, I'm big on this one. Remember, the linesman has to stand on the goal line. So the linesman essentially is out of the game in terms of offsides there. Anyway, if only we had a system where we could look at video replays of these things. There we go. Here's the second goal for Reading. Elise puts the corner in. A bit blurry, but that is Michael Morrison heading it in for 2-0. And like I say, well done, Reading, stabilising very, very nicely. Let's have a look at the numbers. Yeah, look, dominant in the end with the red card. God, look, 5 big chances to 1. So easy win for Reading, particularly after the red card, and impressive stuff. I've kind of given my ideas on where both teams headed. For Reading, again, the parachute cartel, they've broken them. I mean, a few teams have broken them this week, but the issue is, can you finish above 2 or more of Watford, Bournemouth or Norwich? Probably not. And the next question is, can you beat one of them in the playoffs? So that's the trick for Reading, Swansea, Stoke, Brentford, Bristol City, Blackburn, Borough, Cardiff. Even if Luton can make a challenge, all of those top half teams, can you take down the parachute cartel? Because we could see 2 of them in the top 2 and one of them in the playoffs, obviously, which would make it rather hard for everybody else challenging if they can all play to their potential, which they do. seem to be very efficient performance from the Royals. Was always going to be an uphill task for Forest after going down to 10 men and a goal down, but surprised they threw in the towel. There you go. Unfortunately, the 4 losses could have easily been preventable. A lot of individual errors cost us against. Yeah, that was Stoke did a job on Reading there, didn't they? Forest really struggling, no creativity, no idea going forward. And when you're like that, no matter how good you are defensively, you're going to concede chances and goals. Yeah, and not a lot going in the other way, aren't they? Sorry, I didn't keep up that. Oh, no worries at all. It would still be offside if he is ahead of the ball, says Russ. My point there, Russ, is you can be ahead of the ball, and if you're deemed that a new phase of play starts, for example, the keeper saves the ball, then you weren't interfering with play, and it's a new phase. I'd love to see. Something of that nature actually happen and see what the ruling was, because stick the ball in the goal. Most people say you're interfering with play, but we've seen plenty of things where a player's clearly offside, header goes in, keeper parries out, player puts it in, and it's new phase goal. Be interested to hear a qualified professional referee speak about that, address that, what they would actually be required to do. Right, where to next? Swansea, who beat Luton 2-0. Swansea back at it after losing at Borough in the week. Connor Roberts on the score sheet again. Early goal in this one. Mayhew back in the team. Assist, goal, go figure. Woodman, Norton, Cabango, Guehi. Looks like Guehi went off injured. Robertson, Bidwell, wing-backs. Grimes and Smith. Danda at 10. Mayhew and Cullen up top. Still think Swansea need to sign a striker. I say that every week, don't I? Shea in goal for Luton. Bree, Craney got injured in the last game, didn't he? Lockyer, Pearson, who's going to get red carded. Potts, Glenn Ray back into midfield. He played a couple of games at centre back, hadn't he? He's probably going to finish this game at centre half as well, looking at that red card there. Clark, Berry, Dewsbury Hall, Monker, and Collins. Let's have a look at the stills. The action in this one. There is Roberts. He's going to hit that one with his left foot. You can see Ayew's just popped it off to him. It's going to take a deflection, I do have to say, but fair dues to Roberts. He scored that great header against Forest, didn't he? And then look how narrow he is. Look how much he wants to contribute to the attack. And also, look at the other left wing back, Bidwell. Literally the furthest player forward on the other side as well. So fair dues to Steve Cooper for really using those wing backs in a really positive attacking way. There is the second yellow. I think, although a Luton fan did try and debate it with me yesterday, we can all agree that that's dangerous play and probably a yellow card there. He's completely missing the ball and kicked Guehi in the face there with his foot, probably nearly 7 feet off the ground there, Pearson. So there you go, second yellow there. Off he goes. And Mayhew, what a great player he is. I know we wax lyrical about him every week, but similar to the Billing goal, just really good technique. You can see Shea's just got his weight on his right foot, but I don't think he's going to save this anyway. Mayhew just arrows it into the corner there. Brilliant stuff with the left foot from Mayhew. Swansea into fourth spot. They've got 10 points in the last 5, so you'll take a defeat if you can see out another 10 points in the remaining 4 games of a 5-game run. 29 points. Like Reading, Stoke and Brentford, they've broken the parachute cartel at the moment, haven't they? 2 wins in 3. You'll always be happy with as well. Looking good. But we know the long-term implications of what it's going to take to get promoted this season. So I do think they may need to just go up another level if they want automatic or to win the playoffs than where they are at the moment, i.e. It was Brewster last season. I think they've used all their loans already, Swans, haven't they? Can they get a goal scorer from somewhere just to add to the mix of a really well coached team? Luton are still in the top half, actually, which is excellent. 22 points from 16 is also excellent. Only 5 points in the last 5 games. So they want to pick up a little bit with 2 defeats in the last 3. Big picture is excellent. They just don't want to slowly bob down. It would be wonderful for them to stay up in the top half. Let's have a look here. As I said before, the save makes no difference in phases of play unless it's a 2. The save would. It'd be a new phase of play because the ball's then coming away from the goal. I don't really understand what you mean there. Can you send me that still? And I'll ask, yeah, sure. Send me a DM about that, Russ. But I've seen plenty of occasions where the player's been ahead of the ball and the keeper then makes the save and the guy pops it in and they say, oh, he wasn't interfering with play. So I say plenty. I've seen it happen. Put it that way. Harsh on Luton. I thought they performed well. There we go. Right. Let's move on to Stoke, who got their second straight win. I've complained about Stoke's consistency all season, haven't I? That they're fairly consistent. They grind it out, but they never win back-to-back. Well, they have won back-to-back now. So there is their 11. Bursic, Collins, Chester, Bart, Fox, Klukas and Cousins. Campbell, Powell, McLean and Brown is their team. Borough, Bettinelli, Spence, Fry, McNair, Boller, Howson, Tavernier, Morsey, Saville, Johnson and Akpom up top. Just the one goal in this one. You may have seen a wonderful interview with Neil Warnock about the dressing rooms as well, which is highly entertaining. I've tweeted that. Follow me at Benjamin Bloom to find that. They'll be a bit disappointed with this one, Borough. They just get a little bit caught. I think the set play goes in the first instance, then it gets cleared, and they just kind of lose sight of where their line is. They probably needed to just push out a little bit more, but it's always tricky when the ball's going the other way and then it comes straight back into the box, which means that Collins gets a nicely placed header there right in the middle of the box, pops that one in for Stoke. That is the only goal in the game. What do the numbers tell us? They tell us 52-48 to Borough. Only 1 shot on target for Borough, 5 for Stoke, 2 corners to 0 in Borough's favour, 2 big chances apiece. So I can see why Warnock was so grumpy about this one, because looking at those numbers, he would have thought that his team could get something, hit the post as well, or hit woodwork, it says down there. So good win for Stoke. Looks like a fairly tight one, as you'd imagine, between Michael O'Neill and Neil Warnock. And Stoke also making 10 points from the last 5 games. And if we look up at the top of the table, Norwich, Bournemouth, Swansea, Stoke, Brentford, Blackburn, loads of teams having 10 points from the last 5. So you can see why it's all got congested at the top. There's been a surge of several teams all at the same time. Borough, very spotty. Look, loss, win, loss. Remember, that is 1.5 points per game rolled out, and it doesn't normally get you the playoffs, 69 points, does it? So Borough, again, they're going to want Stoke's level of consistency there. And like I've already said a few times in this broadcast, for these chasing teams, they've got to be consistent, and then they've got to hope for one of that parachute cartel to drop off and be beatable, either to get into the playoffs or go in the playoffs. So, yes, let's have a look here. Nathan Collins is amazing, so good on the ball. Is he only 19? Oh, good point. Ben in the chat there. Warnock crying after the game was pathetic. Just use the excuse every time. Lewis, you need to understand the man to know that he knows exactly what's going on, but he just likes to stir the pot. He'll know better than anyone why they lost and what went wrong. But he's done it for a long, long time. Don't get suckered in by it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the Warnock's musings, let's just say. Brentford will be disappointed that they didn't get a win. They drew 2-2 against Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn have been in really good form. However, there was a red card on 36 minutes in this one for Dara Lenihan. And then Brentford did indeed take the lead. So they will really, really think that they should have got the win from this one. For Brentford there, Dalsgaard returns and Force starts again, a second game up top with Ivan. The battle of the two goal machines there, Tony and Armstrong, facing off against each other. I suppose Tony wins that one in the short term there because he scored in this one. Armstrong did not. But the game is all square. So Blackburn, slightly more defensive set midfield there with Rothwell, Johnson and Tribal. They played Elliott in there in the midweek. Elliott goes back up top. Armstrong and Gallagher in there. And you can see Lenihan is getting a red card in this one. Let's have a look at the action. There is Joe Rothwell. That was a really good goal, actually. What you can't see, he's just hidden behind there, is he just takes the Brentford midfield by surprise. He comes in from the right-hand side. We saw him do this in a game against Preston where he just drove with the ball through the centre of midfield. Very hard to stop once he gets going. And he's got the finish to match here. Here is the red card. So that's Tony. And again, we need to quote the law. It's inside the box. So the referee has deemed that Lenihan is not making an attempt to play the ball. And the picture probably bears that out, doesn't it? That the ball's nowhere near and it looks like Lenihan's got his arm across. So a red card given there, obvious goal scoring opportunity and no attempt to play the ball is a red card in today's wording and laws. Tony obviously scores because it's a game involving Brentford and he's playing and he scores every game, doesn't he? Steps up and strokes that in the corner. And there, lovely goal. This one, very Ben Rama, I have to say. Canos cutting in from the left-hand side. Although Ben Rama would have curled this one, Canos just smacks it straight into the top corner. And at this point, I'm like, oh, here we go. Brentford are going to win the fourth game on the trot. They're playing against 10 men. They're 2-1 up, 30 minutes to go. But Blackburn get the equaliser, ball into the box. I think it was Thompson who must have come on as a sub because I didn't see him in the starting 11. Didn't get it clear. And it's really decent play by Davenport, actually, because he doesn't have any time. He flicks it over the head. Is that Henry in there? I think blurry pictures. And then just as it's landing, before the two guys can get the challenge in or before Raya can make a save, pops it in to the back of the net and makes it 2-2. So bit of a surprise there. Two teams in really decent form with the two top scorers as well. What do the numbers tell us? The numbers tell us that Brentford probably edged it and Blackburn will be very happy with their point. 67-33 to Brentford on the possession. 15 shots to 7, 3 on target to 2, 4 corners to 2. No big chances created by Blackburn despite the 5 shots in the box. So it sounds like Brentford managed to keep Armstrong quiet, which is half the battle against Blackburn, but they didn't get the win. However, big picture, Brentford have picked up really nicely since the international break. They've got 11 points in the last 5. Can anyone else match that? I'm looking down the table. Well, only Blackburn can match it. So, yeah, two real form teams going at it at the moment. And Brentford, we have all of these theories about them being slow starters, about it going to be hard to replace Ben Rama, and all of these ideas that will make them slowly get into it. But they're into the top 6 now, and they're on a good run. They're not blowing teams away, but I kind of think that a weakness for Brentford has been, just winning tight games. I mean, look at Norwich this season. Norwich, really, in a lot of the games, they've won them by 1 goal. They've scored late goals, but they've won them, haven't they? And that might have been the difference between Brentford going up and not going up last year if in a few sort of tight games they'd have got something from them or just won them by the one goal. So maybe that's a good thing for Brentford, in fact, that they are working in this way. And as I keep saying, the season of the grind, maybe even Brentford have to grind. Blackburn moving into good form. They need to keep this up to show us, are they going to be a top half team or are they going to be a playoff challenger team? I think they're capable of either, but they really need to be playing at the top of their form, given the challenges up in the playoff positions. Let's have a look. Oh, Henry was off, was he? I don't know who was challenging down there. Blurry picture. Best performance of the season so far. Blackburn perspective, 10-man. And Mowbray's tactics, fantastic after going down to 10. You'll always take a point when you're down to 10 men, wouldn't you? Denver ads would say Blackburn had the better of it before the red. Otherwise, I think that's all the comments we've got. There. Cool. Right, let's move on and make sure I don't miss one out. Watford are the big losers there because the entire top 5 won. Brentford drew, and then Watford and Bristol City, who we'll talk about in a minute, defeated. It was the wrong day to lose, wasn't it, for Watford? There's never a right day to lose, is there? But you know what I'm saying. And in the clash of, talk about the season of the grind, in the clash, sorry, let me just read Chris's comment because he was at the game. They're great to watch live in the ground. Brilliant. Shame not getting 3 points, but 9 unbeaten. Yeah, great to be back, no doubt, Chris. And Bart says, good sign of team playing for the manager. Getting him. Yeah, exactly. Forest couldn't do that, could they? So there you go. I'm not saying Forest aren't playing for the manager. Anyway, in the season of the grind, we've got Ivic versus Harris, 2 managers who are going to fall into that category, aren't they? And we get a 1-0 win for Cardiff with a set play goal in this one. 3rd straight win for Cardiff indeed. Watford line up there. Foster and Gaki, Kabasele, Ekong, Wilmot across the back. Wilmot played left back. Did he really? I'm sure that must be a 3 at the back, mustn't it? With Sema at left back. Garner cleverly, Sarr then probably across midfield, or it's a 5-2-3. I don't think SofaScore got that one right. If you watch that game and you have an idea on that, let me know. João Pedro and Dini up top. Again, with Cardiff, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure that'll probably be a 4-2-3-1. I'm not sure Harris will play up front. But again, if you watch the game, let me know. Smithies, Bakuna, Morrison, Nelson, Bennett, Wilson, Rolls, Volks, Ojo. With Harris maybe playing as a 10, off Moore and Ojo and Wilson advanced. I haven't seen Cardiff for a few weeks. Certainly not since they've been winning games. Here is the only goal. Let me just bring this one up. And look at that. Lovely stuff there. Can you see Kiefer Moore? You can. Number 10. Can you see the ball? He's going to hit that one with the left foot right into the corner, to be fair to him. The cycling goalkeeper has no chance. It's with saving that one. But if it should be disappointed, just loose ball from a set play. Everyone probably, when they go and play Cardiff, spends at least some time watching Cardiff set plays and Morrison and Moore and how they're going to go in. So they've been scoring from a lot. I think it's scored from 3 of them against Luton, didn't they? That was the only goal in the game, though. So Watford, as I say, losing on the wrong day when everybody else won. It swings and roundabouts. They'll probably win on a day when everybody else loses at some point. But they have dropped some places. 65-35 on the possession. 12 shots to 10. But look at that. Only 3 shots on target in the game and only 1 for Watford. However, they did miss a big chance in this game. So tight game goes to Cardiff in that respect. Watford drop. Well, I think they were 3rd, weren't they? So they dropped 4 places. There are plenty of teams winning and going above them. Have they got the squad and players and tactical plan to keep it moving? Probably. Could they be a little bit more exciting and score a few more goals? Yeah, probably. Does Ivic deserve a bit more time to prove that to us? I suspect he does. But remember, he's got the Potsos as his bosses. So Cardiff, wow. I keep saying this. 3 games ago, I think they were 15th, and I was like, that's not good enough. Now they're 11th and 4 points off the playoffs. So that's a lot better, isn't it? A year 2 parachute team. Cardiff, loan money invested in Osei Tutu and Ojo and Wilson particularly. That they're not bottom half players, are they? And neither are some of the leftovers from the Premier League, Morrison and Hoylett, and the signing of Kiefer Moore, obviously. So they will expect to operate in the top half. And will we see Neil Harris as the momentum manager again? We've seen it before. When he gets on a run, things do start to move, don't they? So keep an eye on Cardiff. They're still probably at least 3 rounds off even being in the top 6. But, hey, 3 wins in 3 is 3 wins in 3, isn't it? And you'll take that all day long. Chris has put one in there on Rovers. Severe defensive problems now. Fullbacks are not good, and Renka, Costello and Douglas out. Injury prone. Ayala playing basketball on Wednesday. Lenihan suspended. Oh, there you go. So they might struggle to get a back 4 out, or a back 4 with many first teamers out in the next couple of games. Bristol City fall into the bracket of losing on the wrong week, don't they? They lost 1-0 at home to Birmingham. Karanka finally keeps things tight and gets the goal to win the game. It had been tight and he'd been drawing 0-0. It had been tight and he'd been conceding the goal and losing the game. This is the idea when you play pragmatic type football, that one of your centre-halves scores a header from a set play with 10 minutes to go. That would do you, won't it? The teams for Bristol City there, Bentley, Mariappa, another start, Viner, Callas and Rowe across the back. O'Dowda, Brunt gets a start, Naj, Semenyo, Martin, Wells, decent front 3. That. Birmingham, Etheridge, Colin, Roberts, Dean, Friend, Kieftenbeld starts with Sunjic. Karanka will love Kieftenbeld, won't he? Right up his street. Sanchez, Terrell and Bella. So Terrell comes in and starts. And no Jutkovic. Look on the bench there. Alen Halilovic, who the Birmingham fans are very excited about coming into the team. Apparently, pretty high caliber player. And speaking of pretty high, look at this leap by Harley Dean. Woof! Climbing up from Bella's corner to power that one in. Very straightforward, very rudimentary. Hard to stop, though, isn't it? And if you don't score in the remainder of the game, you're struggling, aren't you? Looks like quite a sustainable performance by Birmingham, actually. They didn't concede any big chances at all. 50-50 on the possession, 11 shots. Tight game, very, very tight game. And the difference is just a set play. And welcome to Karanka ball, ladies and gentlemen. If you can't stand that heat, get out of the kitchen. Interestingly, for Birmingham now, given they ended last season and they basically cleaned everything out and didn't have a bench. It was just under 21s on the bench, wasn't it? Look at the bench now. Prieto, Clark, Salter, Pedersen, Halilovic, San Jose, Gardner, Jutkovic, Lecco. So they've built a squad now which has a fair amount of decent players in terms of like an 18. They've got a manager who tactically knows what he wants to do. Can they execute now? Because if they can all learn what he wants them to do, not bad players in that squad at all. A lot of them have functioned as, in higher positions than where they are at the moment. So I wonder if he can get that to click, whether there's a much better upside for Birmingham than where they are at the moment, which is 16th. They've still only lost 5 games this season and only 1 in the last 5. Bristol City, disappointing for them, 2 defeats in the last 3. They've still got 7 points in the last 5. And I think Dean Holden's still doing a good job. However, this was not the weekend to lose, was it? Remember last weekend where, look, Norwich lost, Bournemouth lost, or midweek rather, Swansea lost, and Bristol City won, flips over this week. And that, given it's so tight, can raise you up 4 places or 3 places. in the same way it can obviously drop you down 4 places and 3 places. That happened to both Bristol City and Watford this weekend, but 3 points, both of them. I know I should be talking about Bristol City, apologies. 3 points, and they're 3 points off second place, aren't they? So it's very tight, and I think in the main they're doing a decent job there. Let's have a look here. Watford were always going to drop if there was a lapse in their home forms. They're not picking up anything away. Very, very true. He has a plan, which at the moment he can't implement for all our injuries. He needs to finish a project for the sake of his career. That's my thought. Did you agree though, David? From Birmingham point of view, decent squad actually now. I think they've recruited quite well actually. Can they execute? Sanchez was quality yesterday, even first half, but we deserved it on the second half. Where did Sanchez play, John? Was it down the right or was it in the number 10? Oh dear. This is not good for our dearly departed here. West Brom in a mess now. Palace lead 3. I think West Brom are down to 10 in that one, aren't they? Right. Where are we going next? We've done Blackburn, we've done Borough, we've done Cardiff, we've done Luton. We are going to do Huddersfield, who keep flirting with the top half of the table, don't they? They're 13th now. Another win in what we expected to be an open game between them and QPR. Corberon versus Warburton. Huddersfield lining up there. Hamer, Toffolo and Pippa back together as the fullbacks. They're decent, those two, aren't they? And Toffolo's going to score in this game. Schindler starts, but doesn't finish. Keep an eye on that. O'Brien, Hogg, Eiting. That's been decent. Karomo's really stepped up, hasn't he? Campbell and Benza. For QPR, Dieng, I think it's unchanged, isn't it? Hammerleinen, Barbe, Dickey, Kane, Cameron, Carroll, Willock, Chair, Samuel, and Dykes. And another couple of goals, one of them in particular for the old Huddersfield highlight reel. Other than a sort of Norwich or a Brentford, I like Huddersfield as one of the styles, Swansea maybe, that I like to watch the most in the league, actually. Although this is very poor from QPR, and that's Josh Koroma, and he hasn't just received the ball in that position with absolutely no one closing him and a nice bit of time to bend it in the top corner. He's actually run all the way down the left, cut inside, and they've backed off, and he must have had the ball for at least four or 5 seconds by that point, and no one. You can see he's just being closed down from the side there, but not enough, and he bends that one into the top corner. And again, a really, really lovely goal, this one for Toffolo, and it's the underlap that the tactical bods call it there. Winger pulls wide, fullback runs inside him, little diagonal ball, Toffolo in to finish it off. I said it yesterday. I think he's possibly if we stopped and did our team of the seasons now, he's certainly in the conversation as the left back, Toffolo. I know a load of Reading fans popped up and told me how great Omar Richards was, but as with all of these things, I try and make a credible conversation, and obviously if we only survey Reading fans, they will literally all say that their player is the best left back and not a Huddersfield player. Go figure, it being what it is, leave your bias at the door is what I always say. There are the numbers: 57-43 Huddersfield, 11 shots to 4, only 2 on target for Rangers. 1 big chance to 0. Looks like a decent, sustainable performance that by Huddersfield. They're a little bit inconsistent. We look every week and we do the super stream, and we're not surprised if they win 3-0. We're not surprised if they lose 3-0. They come a cropper against certain teams, but against a team like QPR, who are going to play quite open, that's a good matchup for them. I suppose for Huddersfield, it's just tricky. As I've said, when you're in a league now, literally with Pulis, Ainsworth, Houghton, Warne, Karanka, Neal, Rowett, Harris, Warnock, Ivic, O'Neill, and Paunovic. A lot of managers who are very good at training their team, or differing levels of good at training their team to not actually need the ball to win games. So we'll see how it pans out over the season. Big picture, good for Huddersfield. For Rangers, though, 3 straight defeats. They were on good form before this. I think they had 10 points in 5. So a disappointing slip. And we're keeping an eye on that bottom 6 for the longest time now. It's been the 3 big clubs, Wednesday, Derby and Forest, plus the 3 League One promoted clubs. Will that change? For that to change, someone needs to score some points in the bottom 6 and a team, and I'll just name the closest teams. I'm not saying this is going to happen. QPR, Barnsley, Birmingham, Preston, Millwall, Huddersfield. A team in the 3rd quartile to have a really bad run and get sucked down into it. It feels like other than Wycombe and Derby, no team really in the league has sustained. I know Wycombe had 7 straight defeats and Derby have just been hopeless most of the season, haven't they? But Forest lost 5 on the chart, didn't they? But we haven't seen that mad run from someone, I don't know, anywhere between 9th and 16th, where they score 1 point in 7 games or something, which often can happen in the car crash that is the Championship. Karoma is really filling Grant's boots. Yes. And Mr. Football, I did, and you can watch me back. I did Forest Huddersfield earlier in the season, and I was quite down on Karoma. I was like, oh, he's been given the chance, but it's lovely to see a player grow into their shirt and into their position, isn't it? I think Huddersfield will be comfortably top half. I'm not so sure about that, Mr. E. I think there's a lot of other teams that might be a little bit better resourced than them, but certainly pattern of play is lovely. Very disciplined performance from Cardiff, kept a clean sheet, scored 2 goals after Cardiff got the job done. Indeed, Millwall v QPR on Tuesday. Yes, that is a must-win game, isn't it? And right on cue, we can talk about Millwall, whose poor run continues. And it was Millwall 0, Derby 1. And Derby win a game, for goodness sakes. And Millwall just can't score. Can they, for goodness sakes? So what does Rowett try this time? He's going to try sort of Ferguson wide, Wallace wide, Smith up top, which I'm told by the Millwall fans did not work. They needed more running power there. Ben Thompson up there as well. Woods and Leonard in the double pivot there. Wallace, Cooper, Hutchison, Romeo, Białkowski. So Romeo returning last couple of games. I know he had been out. Derby continue with... they got to the point where Rooney and Rossini and McLaren just brought back all of the experienced players, didn't they? They've started now to dip back in. If you look, Knight, who's the goal scorer, and Josviak come back in now. So it looks like they've played it reasonably sensibly there, Rooney and Rossini. Marshall, Byrne, Davis, Clark for Scythe. Shinnie, Bielik now in the central midfield. I don't know whether he ends up playing centre half. My opinion is if I've got a centre half who can play, I play him at centre half and then play a midfielder who can also play. But needs must at the moment for Derby, especially with Rooney sort of stepping out the way of that central midfield position. Holmes, Knight, Josviak, Kazim Richards gets the start. Just some physicality and some presence up the top there, isn't it? Here is the goal. He says, where is it? There it is. And you can just see, or you can't, Jason Knight just on the edge of the 6-yard box. I think Waghorn has had, Waghorn and Białkowski. Oh, memories, hey. Waghorn headers it, Białkowski saves it, and Knight pounces to stick it in the goal. Is that Jake Cooper about 3 yards behind the goal line? I don't know what he's doing there, trying to block things. He's ended up in the net. But Jason Knight gets the only goal, and Derby County get a rare and important win. 55-45 to Derby in the possession. I mean, their possession has been decent all season in terms of numbers, not in terms of what they've done with it. 12 shots to 11 for Millwall, 4 corners to 3, 1 big chance apiece. And in a game of 2 clubs that just can't score at the moment, there's only ever going to be 1 goal in it. Derby get the goal, and lovely good news for them. Let's see what that means for the league table. Millwall are sliding, aren't they? Sliding away down to 14th. 4 defeats for the season and back-to-back defeats. That's half their defeats in the last 2 games. But you can see the glaring stat there, other than the bottom 4, Forest, Wycombe, Derby and Wednesday, only 13 goals for Millwall, and that is proving a problem. Derby move off the bottom, 5 points in 3 games. Long journeys do have to start with first small steps. 5 points in 3 games will do you absolutely fine. What's that? 1.66, is it? Have I got that wrong? 1.33? I can't think. Anything over a point per game is going to work for... it's 1.66, isn't it? It's going to work for Derby to get them up and away and towards 40, 45, 46 points, which has just got to be the target now, given the start of the season's been so bad. I think once you start to be getting up to the 23 game mark, it is literally right. We know what this season is now, don't we? So there we go. Let's have a look at your comments on this one. Smith has declined since last season. He was dominated in the air. Yeah, Curtis Davis coming back in there. Game seemed a lot pacier with fans back. Interesting. Still a lot of injuries for Millwall. Yeah, Millwall, there's 3 or 4 clubs in the league who are absolutely pillaged with injuries at the moment. Also, much better yesterday. Real team spirit. Shinnie and Bielik won the midfield battle. Josviak's causing problems all game. There's definitely a potential for Derby to improve. I think it's just real basics now, isn't it? It's defend well, keep concentration, play with a bit of confidence. You just have to go back to that because, to use my team, Ipswich, as an example, there was a point where they just lost all self-belief, all confidence, and the other stuff, the basic stuff, then just disappears. And it doesn't matter, you string together 5 good minutes because then you just concede a goal at the end of it. So if we get a draw against Brentford, I'll believe our luck has finally turned, says Alex. And we'll give Chris the last word there. He's not happy with Mr. Rowett at the moment. And we all know Chris on the channel, not a reactionary chap. So we'll take heed of Chris's opinion there. Preston versus Wycombe. I think we got 2 to go here, guys. Thank you as ever for joining me. Always a good time on a Sunday, even if I woke up with a head like, what's that song? Scissor Sisters, with a head like What You Done. There you go. I haven't done anything. I just woke up with migraine, for God's sakes. No fair. 2-2, Preston versus Wycombe. Wycombe, I'll call them competitive again. They're scoring points. They nearly won this one as well, didn't they? It was a fairly late equaliser. A couple of chances after that for Preston as well, I have to say. Rudd, Brown, Huntington, Davis and Rafferty, Pearson, Ledson, Sinclair, Johnson, Barkhazen, Maguire. They've just gone away from playing Emil Rees up front. I was like, for a while, they've finally got a striker and they're playing him now. Nope. Neil's taken him out. Or he's hurt. No, he's not hurt. Look, he's there on the bench. Comes on 61 minutes. Wycombe, Allsop, Jacobson, Stewart, Knight, Grimmer, McCarthy, and then a lot of attacking presence there. I don't know if he's doing the old Warnock half and half here, where you essentially play 5 defenders, 5 attackers, but the defenders do not do any attacking whatsoever and just let the guys up front get on with it. Who knows? But McClary, Hogan, Onyedinma, Kashket and Akinfenwa, that is essentially 3 wingers, a big forward and a running forward. So fair dues to Ainsworth. He's not going to sit there and try and nil-nil his way out of this now, it looks like. And maybe that's a better upside for Wycombe, isn't it? Actually have a go, for goodness sake. And they scored 2 goals in this game. So maybe it might work. This is a bit of a rubbish goal, actually. Who is number 12 for Wycombe? So I don't unfairly. It's Josh Knight is going to head that one back home to Allsop, completely stitches him up because Barkhazen sneaks in from behind and just heads it over the keeper. Poor mistake. Is there such thing as a good mistake? I suppose there is sometimes. I've been accused of making many good mistakes in recording studios where I've played the wrong note or sung the wrong thing. Oh, we'll keep that. That's quite good. So maybe there is a good mistake. Lovely goal this by Wycombe. I think it was Kashket to Jacobson. You can just see, I think, on your dimmer is in the way of McCleary. But nice, quick, bang, bang, bang. Third man runner, pass and finish there. Good goal by Wycombe. We were expecting, air raid sirens and balls into the box. So lovely stuff there from the chairboy. Sorry if I'm sounding patronising there. I don't mean to. That free kick from Jacobson hits the post. Kashket, cool as you like, just slides it in to the empty net for 2-1. But here is the equaliser. Oh dear, oh dear. It's an own goal by McCarthy. I feel a bit sorry for him because what you can't see there as he kicks it into his own net is just as that cross comes in from the right, the first Wycombe defender just gets a little haircut on it and just flips it back, changes the direction of it, which stitches McCarthy up. He sticks it in his own net. So disappointing for Wycombe because a couple of preventable goals, let's just say. Let's have a look at the numbers. 59-41 in terms of possession. Look at that. 36 shots in that game. Wow, only 7 of them on target. Ho-hum. 8 corners to 6. Wycombe, by God, 4 big chances to 1, and they didn't win the game. They'll be disappointed, actually, with that, won't they? But, hey, they're drawing away at Preston. I know Preston got this weird home record, away record thing. But, Wycombe, ultimately, it's about picking up as many points as possible. And 4 points from 5 games is not going to be enough. You need a point per game. You need to be knocking that out. You need the odd, if you're going to get away from relegation, even if you do it once in the season, just back-to-back wins, just do 6 points. That then helps you for the next, 3 or 4 weeks, doesn't it? So you can then bank those points and maybe absorb a couple of defeats because of it. So, yes, they are competitive, but you need to win games. Draws alone and being competitive won't keep you up. You need to get above that 1 point per game if you're chasing. And look, they're 5 points behind that 1 point per game. So although big picture, it's good for Wycombe, 7 defeats in the first 7 games. And then, 11 points in the last 9 games. Great. But you've got to absorb then 0 points in the first 7 games and go over and above that point per game some. And you just wonder in the end with Wycombe whether those first 7 games are going to take them down. Let's see. Can they start getting wins? Ainsworth seems acutely aware of it, though, doesn't he? Because he's now going for those attacking lineups, and good luck to him. And we'll see. And there's always that sense with a club like Wycombe, who's just come up from League One, that they're a little less cynical and a little more open to having a go than, I don't know, say a Derby or a Forest with no confidence. So that might work in their favour. Still in the bottom 3, though. Wycombe, Preston. I don't know what to say about Preston. I'll probably say they're on a bad run and then they'll win the next 4 games. Then I'll say they're on a good run and then they'll lose at home to some side with 10 men or something. So we'll see. But need some kind of stability there in their results, particularly. And that normally comes with stability in performance first, and then the results follow along down the line, don't they? I went for a Wycombe away win, but they blew it. There you go. Wycombe, much more competitive now, but just not winning enough matches. 100% agree with that one. Yes, someone said that in the game. Pearson thought to have picked up a serious injury, could be out for the season. That is bad news. He'd only just come back, hadn't he? Yes. Right, I think that's all the comments on that game. We are nearly there, guys. 1 more to go. Have I done everybody? Yes. But I haven't done Coventry, who beat Rotherham 3-1. And I hate to say I told you so, but I'm going to remind you, when I do get it right, for God's sake, let me remind you of my video that I did in the international break saying which teams will trend up going towards Christmas, which teams will trend down. I did an exhaustive look at who they'd played, every team, and who they were going to play. And the fixtures said that Coventry would have an upturn. Just the fixtures, and they have. They've managed to win games and draw games and pick up points and go undefeated. And it's proving to be a good little run here for Coventry, and it continues here 3-1. And look at that, 2-0 up in 12 minutes. Wilson in goal, so no Morosi for them. Ostigard, McFadzean, Hyam, McCallum, Darbo, Hay, McKelly, O'Hare, Biamu, Walker. I was just talking about Wycombe. I was talking about stability, consistency. I wonder in the end with Coventry, because they literally always put out virtually the same system and virtually the same important players in the same positions. A few little tweaks up top. But I think Mark Robins probably has got the idea that if he just does that, 3 other teams won't do that and he'll be able to finish above them. I think that would be the idea. Look, they're going to come up against Watford or Norwich or Bournemouth, Brentford, Stoke, teams with bigger squads and better players, and they'll lose. But in the main, if they're in the right spot and they're consistent, they give themselves the best chance to go ahead and beat teams who maybe are in a bad moment, or teams that they feel that they may have equal to or better players than, like perhaps Rotherham, who they finished above in League One last season. There is your Rotherham team there. Blackman, Ihekwa, Wood, McDonald, Wiles, Harding and Matic, wing-backs, Lindsay, Crooks, Smith and Ladapo up top. I believe, Ian's in the chat, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, that's sort of the same system they played when we did the game against Brentford, that they were pretty well competitive in until the red card for Mikel, who came on. I think it was a different story yesterday where the white flag went up quite quickly from Rotherham, disappointingly, and not what we expect from a Paul Warne team. There's the opening goal that still doesn't really do it credit, because you see Tyler Walker in the D there. He's chested that off really nicely for Biamu, who runs in and finishes. This one's really poor. Again, what you don't see is that's Tyler Walker sticking it into an empty net. However, long free kick in, kind of bounces, drops to the floor. No Rotherham player reacts. Coventry player gets a shot off, hits the post, comes out. Everyone's chasing their tail. And look, it falls right to Tyler Walker, who's alive and sticks the ball in the net. And yeah, how do you score a header from there? Well, a little bit of help. I forget who. What does that say on his back? Does it say 14? I forget who put it in. I can't even see from the numbers there. But Ostigard angles the header across. He makes it hard for. I really couldn't tell you who that was. Help me in the chat facing his own. It's Michael Smith, isn't it? Yeah, 24. And Smith sort of slices it into his own goal there. I don't know whether that has gone down as an own goal. Maybe it's still going in the net anyway. But 3-0. Penalty up the other end after a foul by Wilson. Barlasa sticks that in the back of the net. But 3-1 to Cov in this one, and fairly comfortable from what we have heard. 4 big chances to 2, say the numbers, and 2 of those big chances obviously were missed. Hit the woodwork twice as well. 8 shots inside the box. Rotherham did create 2 big chances of their own, and obviously one of them being the penalty scored. But only 1 shot on target in the game, and that's from the spot. So some attacking issues there for Rotherham. Let's get to the comments. All of my optimism has now evaporated. We look hopelessly out of our depth, and fans for the first time are starting to question Warne, and sadly, rightly so. Interesting, Ian, that you agree with that. I do respect your opinion. In their last 56 away matches in the Championship, Rotherham have registered just 2 wins. Eek. Paul Warne's away record, 1-2, drawn 11, lost 32. Why is that? Goodness me. Connor says should have beaten Rotherham by 5 easily. We're a League One team with a League One budget trying to compete with millionaire clubs. That's very true, and that's the big picture every time, isn't it? You're talking like Rotherham, a solid Championship side when they're just a good League One side. Maybe. I always think, Bits, that in the Championship will normally give you at least 1 complete basket case where, like a Hull or an Ipswich that season where it's just madness and they get relegated. or a Wigan or a Charlton. We had 3 of them last season. Or someone who just goes on a horrific run and loses all will to win a game. Is that going to happen this season? And I just think someone like Rotherham, who are a good League One side, I think a good League One side can finish above, this sounds silly, a completely, chaotic Championship club. I don't know whether we're going to get one of those. I mean, the only possibilities really are, like, did Derby hire the wrong manager, sign a load of players, drop them all, sack the manager and do that or something crazy? De Forest fire Houghton if he loses another 5 games or whatever and have another load of, changes in there. I don't know where the Chaos Club is coming from. We'll see. But looking at the table, Coventry move above Rotherham with that victory. And look at that, 9 points in the last 5 games for Cov. Really, really decent. 1 point in the last 5 games for Rotherham, who are slipping down. And I keep saying it, 3 big clubs, 3 League One promoted clubs in there. Will any of the big clubs choke, as in Wednesday, Derby and Forest, and do something stupid and essentially let their owners relegate them? Or will the 3 big clubs perform competently? Because that's the danger for Coventry, Rotherham and Wycombe, is that at the moment, if it is between those 6, which it might not be, you might get someone else get sucked down. If the big clubs perform competently, they will survive. But we've seen plenty of bigger clubs not perform competently. So you tell me. But I just think with the managers, particularly Wednesday and Forest have hired, they're not incompetent managers. So you tell me. Ian says, luckily I'm busy on Tuesday. Won't have to endure Watford away. Callum says, great win and dominant display. 5 unbeaten and 6 points away from the drop. Excellent. As soon as we avoid giving penalties away, we can turn the losses into draws. Draws into Ian. There we go. A nice confident fan late in the show here. Derby, Wednesday, Forest and Birmingham are all quite chaotic clubs. They are. But can they be competent? General stat, 39% of Championship matches have been home wins compared to 43 in 18-19, the last season, full season with fans. Good stat, Chris. That is a drop-off, isn't it? Sam says, do you think Paunovic is the Bielsa of Reading? Well, if you're a Reading fan, you'd hope he is. Obviously, it's quite high praise to compare someone to Mr. Bielsa, who's a wonderful manager for Leeds. But so far, so good. But he's got some challenges ahead of him, let's just say. But let him be the Paunovic of Reading rather than anything else. Right, one last look at the table. Will show us there. Norwich and Bournemouth in the top 2. Reading, Swansea, Stoke, Brentford occupy the playoff positions. Big drops for Watford, Bristol City, Blackburn, Borough, Cardiff on the climb. Luton still in the top half. Huddersfield flirting with it. Millwall trending downwards quite badly now. Preston all over the place. Birmingham, can they go on a run now? Only 1 defeat in 5. Barnsley trending downwards. QPR trending downwards. Coventry trending upwards. Rotherham trending downwards. And the bottom 4 have been the bottom 4 for a fair wee while now, haven't they? Forest, Wycombe, Derby, Wednesday. Let's see where we all are at Christmas. Team of the week. Let's have a look at the results again. Get your ideas in for team of the week. You could go for Bournemouth with a 4-0 away win. Could go for Reading, although that was against 10 men. You could go for Blackburn, although they didn't win. They got back into a game at a hard place. Birmingham with an away win. Coventry, Huddersfield winning. Derby, Norwich, the turnaround win. Stoke and Swansea and Cardiff all winning. I'm going to go for Derby because they've had such a wretched, horrible season so far. We've said nothing good about them. So let's make Derby the team of the week on the basis that they haven't won for about 6 months and they finally won a game. So I'll go for Derby. I'll put a poll up for goal of the weekend at some point later today. I need to give that a little bit more thought. Like I say, my migraine issues this morning meant that my preparation, not necessarily what it could have been for this stream. With all that being said, thank you all very, very much for joining. I'm sad to say that I'm going to have to cancel the stream I was about to do. It was to be a 10 a.m. stream followed by a 2 p.m. Dearly Departed stream. I just don't have the energy now to go another 2 hours in what is now actually 9 minutes time. So that's going to be cancelled. So you'll see me tomorrow on this channel. We'll be doing the Dearly Departed review then at 1 p.m. There might be something interesting coming up on the channel here tonight as well. I have got something in the can. So do check that out. Thank you, everybody, for watching. One more thank you to Russ, who is our fan sponsor, a fan and now friend, spoke Ben several tastes in football teams. Thank you so much to Russ, who supports and sponsors this show. You can do the same if you want to give me a help out in trying to make this a full-time, viable sort of, what's the word? A viable venture. Couldn't think of the word there. You can support via Super Chat in any of the live streams. Patreon, like Russ has done there, and you can ask me about sponsorship things there. The Teespring shop as well. You can buy one of these beautiful Benjamin Bloom Football Channel home T-shirts there. Maybe we do a giveaway as well on one of those. We've got a discount code for you on those. If you type in live on Teesprings at the checkout, you will get yourself a 10% discount. Right, with all that being said, thank you ever so much for watching. Another championship round starts on Tuesday. We're delaying the previews now just to let the content breathe a little bit. So the preview will be Tuesday lunchtime, 1 p.m. live. Come and join me, get your predictions in, or just watch it after the fact. You still comment with your predictions. Thank you to everybody. It's been a long one, 1 hour and 22 minutes, but I thought I owe it to you, given that it was supposed to be at 10 a.m. and I literally was asleep at that point, back in bed. So there we go. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it's over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another